am Mary Beth Ham, and I am in Professor Conley's Humanities 300 Writing Intensive course. I wrote a paper on the traits of postmodernism and how that necessarily affects us as humans in a postmodern world after the 20th century. Postmodernism is the term used to suggest a reaction to modernism in the late 20th century. There are a few popular traits that lie within postmodernism. Our world as we know it is changing daily, and us as humans are adapting to this world. My Nana was on her phone today looking for places to get her oil changed, and she simply just asked Siri, where's the closest place for her to get her oil changed? Siri just, thought for a second and started spitting out answers to her. And my Nana looked at me and asked, what did we ever do without cell phones? That's a very good question, but with multiple answers. I wonder sometimes about what our world would look like without cell phones and social media. There are a few ways that impact us daily that are traits of postmodernism, including mediated responses, your screen experience, our limited ability to pay attention, the freedom to be who we want, overstimulation, and some fake online personalities that we have to deal with. There are some negative traits we must look at that come along with our progressed world. A mediated response is simply the way that you interact with another person. For example, when you send a text message, it is a mediated response because that person is not physically standing in front of you. It's not a face-to-face conversation. If you think about it, we're beginning to miss out on some meaningful social interactions, like a good face-to-face conversation, eye contact, microexpressions, a good handshake. Other social events such as concerts are becoming less popular with younger generations, like my younger brother's generation, because why would you want to pay the money to go to a concert and to go through all the stress and hassle of attending the concert whenever you could just wake up the next day and watch the whole entire thing on YouTube or just listen to the music as you're driving in your car. We don't have to leave our house to have a conversation or to even attend a social event or to go to our normal 9-to-5 job. We don't have to leave the house to do that anymore due to postmodernism and the advancement of technology and social media. This is a good thing, but also can come with some negative effects such as lack of social interaction. We as a human species are social beings and we need to enjoy those moments, but they might be in the past. People who are good with communication skills that are extroverted will be paid more in certain jobs because they're not antisocial and they possess communication skills that are needed in a productive workplace. Another point is the screen that we're looking at every single day is the basis of our experience of the world and other people. Our screen is the thing that connects us with the outside world, with people we've never even met before in person. We can talk and have relationships with people we have never seen in person by the click of a button. You can FaceTime strangers. You can have 500,000 Instagram followers that you've never met. You can have Facebook message. You can Facebook message relatives from back home, even if you're living thousands of miles away. You can meet your significant other on a dating app based solely on their picture and what you read in their bio, which is also a good and a bad thing sometimes. The screen and our experience with it is one of the key aspects of postmodern culture. Our relatives, our ancestors didn't necessarily have to deal with things like that. They, if they wanted to meet someone who they were interested in, they had to go out, ask them to dinner, things like that, more of a traditional way. And we're kind of coming away from those traditions, but, us as humans, we evolve, we adapt to our circumstances, and we move on. And it's okay sometimes to lose those traditions. Our ability to pay attention is also an issue. It's becoming more of an issue, and it's more limited. As I'm sitting here reading this, as I'm sitting here talking to the camera, my phone begs for my attention. I have people who are begging for my attention all the time. I have friends and family and people, on social media. My phone's always dinging. To be productive, I have to turn my phone off, leave my house, and find a quiet place to sit and, quiet the world long enough for me to focus and get my thoughts and feelings out. Some people have been discussing the term attention economy. Since our attention is becoming so rare in our fast-paced world that we live in, we live on like a conveyor belt of being busy. And so our attention and our time is very valuable to us and to other people. But the conveyor belt idea is that, we're busy in college until we graduate trying to find a job. We find a job, we live, in our middle age, and we get married, we have kids. It's just always busy, go, go, go. And then finally, if you're lucky enough to retire, you get to enjoy the time you have, but yet you might not have as much energy as you used to be able to enjoy those things. And so it's kind of a give and take, situation. But our attention is very limited when you're trying to make it. Every day we're bombarded with screens, advertising campaigns, scam phone calls, emails, notifications, and many other things that try and grab our attention. And if you can get someone to pay attention to you, especially when there are thousands of other things begging for their attention, you've mastered the art of the attention economy. And attention is like seen as a currency in our postmodern world, especially when it comes to relationships. That's something that women and men both find very, attractive about their significant other, is if they can grab their attention, they can keep their attention. So it's very much a valuable thing in our postmodern world that we live in. A great benefit to postmodernism is now people have the freedom to be exactly who you are and love who you want to love. And that might be something that we overlook sometimes in postmodernism, just because, if you think about before the 20th century and before the time we live in, it was not okay to be a gay man. It was not okay to be a lesbian woman. It was not okay to be transgender. You kind of had to fit in the social box, and if you didn't, then it was weird, and you're not very much accepted. But I have a great friend who I wanted to write about, who I've known for a long time, and we were actually Kentucky State FFA officers together in 2017. He's a gay man. He's amazing. He is from deep in Eastern Kentucky and never thought that he would be normal like everybody else and like everybody wanted him to be. He thought that something was wrong with him. But through social media and through those connections that he was able to make, he's now happily and openly gay. He receives so much love and connection from social media because he's able to reach out to so many people from all over the world that are in that situation. Because people like me who don't necessarily, identify the same way that he does, I can love him and I can support him, but I can't necessarily give him all the answers that he needs and that he wants like other people can through social media and through these postmodern advancements that we've been able to make. Sometimes it's a confusing thing to get familiar with, but that is the beauty of postmodernism. Another point is that we're very much overstimulated as a culture. Sometimes I'll be watching TV on my TV, I'll be watching a YouTube video on my laptop, I'll be scrolling through Instagram on my phone, and obviously I'm not giving my full attention to all of those tasks all at once. But, I'm doing those three things, all at the same time, and that's not very productive, obviously. But we simply can't pay attention to one thing too long, which hurts us in the long run, especially in the workplace whenever we're trying to find a job. We've been just so accustomed to social media and accustomed to screens, and that sometimes it's hard to put down social media and to delete your social media. I've tried multiple times to delete my social media and to live without it and to kind of detox. There are legit detox camps that people are sending their children to over the summer that, they leave their phone at home and they learn how to function in reality without that connection, without those video games, without those things. When I lay down to go to bed some nights, my mind is racing. I can hear songs that I've listened to that day, thinking about posts that I've read, thinking about school and upcoming finals, and we're very much overwhelmed and overstimulated as a society. And this is the world we live in, and it's a fast-paced world, and if you're trying to make it, sometimes you just have to keep up and just deal with the overstimulation and learn how to adapt to that. Another negative situation is the dangers of social media and safety when it comes to children on social media and things like that. Children are on YouTube, and you would think that YouTube used to be a very friendly, a family-friendly platform, and, it was fun to get on there whenever I was younger, but now you really have to monitor what your kids are watching and what they're doing, because recently there was the whole Momo epidemic and like the Peppa Pig videos where they were seemingly happy videos that were portraying like underlying death and suicide notes that were portraying it in a positive way that some parents picked up on while their child was watching the videos. So like it was making the children think that it was something that it was okay and something that they should do, when in reality it's not. So you really have to watch monitoring YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all those things, and that's something that we have to deal with in this postmodern world that we live in that we didn't necessarily have to worry about back then. Another danger is teenagers on dating apps, even adults on dating apps and Instagram that have social media boyfriends and girlfriends from other states all over the world that you've never met in person. So it's really dangerous, especially with younger children, that you don't know who's on the other side of the screen. You don't want to, send any inappropriate pictures or anything like that, because you don't know who's on the other side of the screen. You don't know what kind of predator there are out there. There's some really nasty people out there scrolling and combing through family Facebook page, family Instagram pages, just to see people's children. And so privacy settings, things like that are something we can do. But we have to be concerned about this now. But before social media, it wasn't that scary of a situation. Whenever I was younger and I was in elementary school, we had, drug trainings and camps, things like that. We learned all about drugs and how addictions are so dangerous, but we never learned about dangers of social media and the predators that are out there on social media trying to get to young people. But in conclusion, we live in a modern world with a postmodern view on literature and art. There's aspects of our world that we experience every day that our parents and grandparents never got to experience or never had to experience. There's things in our life that our children will never have to experience. Social media is a huge concern in adults, especially if they have children on multiple platforms. I even worry about myself sometimes and the addictions that can form and other possible health implications that we don't even know about yet, because we haven't been able to study the health effects of social media on our brain development for that long, because it hasn't been around for that many years. The points I listed previously are negative and positive traits of postmodernism. In some things, there's always a good and bad side. Social media and the major advancements we have made in other sectors of technology and science and medicine are huge strides for us as a human race, but there's always some disadvantages that come with the territory. And we evolve as a species, and we learn to adapt to our surroundings in this postmodern world. Thank you. Bye.